is Steve, and today I have Dynamic International Airways Flight 405. This was a ill practice maintenance related accident involving a fire of the number one engine on this 767 in Fort Lauderdale. Contents here, we got background info, regulatory, probable cause, conclusion, and the references to finish everything up. So to start off, just a little bit of background on the incident itself. We have a Dynamic Airways 767 that encountered a fuel leak induced fire of the number one engine while it was taxiing out on its way to Caracas in 2015. Everybody was evacuated via the slides. However, one person sustained serious injuries because the flight crew didn't shut down the number two engine prior to evacuating the aircraft, which we will talk about a little bit later. Next, I have some regulatory requirements related to maintenance, upkeep, record keeping, and best practices in the 121 world. The first regulation of that would be 121.380, which is just the record keeping requirements for all aircraft, such as total time on the airframe, the current status of life limited parts in each airframe, engine propeller, etc., the time since last overhaul, heavy checks, things like that, and a list of current major alterations of each airframe, engine propeller, and appliance. And then, in addition to this, I kind of shortened this regulation, but in 121.380, it also states that you have to have an approved maintenance manual for said aircraft under the certificate holders certification. A little bit about that. The certificate holder shall put in its manual a chart or description of the certificate holder's organization required by 121.365 and a list of persons with whom it has arranged for the performance of any of its required inspections, other maintenance, preventive maintenance, alterations, or including general description of that work. So 121.365 is basically how your maintenance personnel is supposed to be organized, such as a director of operations, a president, VP, things like that, and then all the managers underneath them. So that needs to be in the manual, and then the certificate holder's manual must contain the programs required by 121.367 that must be followed in performing maintenance, preventive maintenance, and alterations of that certificate holder's airplanes, including airframes, aircraft, engines, propellers, appliances, emergency equipment, and parts thereof, and must include at least the following. So this is just going to detail basically how you take care of said maintenance on your aircraft that you own. Instructions, things like that, procedures and standards, procedures for the reinspection of work performed pursuant to previous required inspection findings. And something interesting I want to note here is the fourth or the fifth item down there. Instructions to prevent any person who performs any item of work from performing any required inspection of that work. And this is probably what's going to take this airplane down in this accident is something was missed, and I won't spoil it, but something was missed in the inspection of work. Either the inspection of said work was not completed, or the person that did the work did the inspection, so they have their own confirmation bias in that case. So normally what would happen is you would have a, like a level one mechanic do the work, and then the authorized inspector would come and do the work and then sign it off in the logbook, and then that aircraft would be deemed fit to return to service. So yeah, call that an IA, inspection authority. A little bit more here. The certificate holder must set forth in its manual a suitable system that provides for preservation, could be computerized, that provides for preservation and retrieval of information in a manner acceptable to the administrator that provides a description or reference to data acceptable to the administrator of the work performed, the name of the person performing the work if the work is performed by a person outside the organization of the certificate holder, and the name or other positive identification of the individual approving the work. This is also going to come into play here on this accident. It's probably a contributing factor later on as to why this specific maintenance item went unnoticed for so long. And yeah, this is basically pertaining to not every airline is going to have their own maintenance personnel at said outstation or said airport. So sometimes we make use of contract maintenance personnel, and that all needs to be tracked. And nowadays, it's all stored online. Prior, it was stored in a paper logbook aboard the aircraft, but we don't do that anymore. So, okay, probable cause of this accident. So on the taxi out, this fitting here, it's called the flexible fuel line coupling separated. So I have a nice picture to the right. This may not be a 767, but I believe it is. And this is located just aft of the engine nacelle, and the engine itself up in the kind of contained in the wing. And we can see there's a couple important parts here. We have a bonding clamp, we have lock wire that surrounds the whole thing and keeps it from separating laterally, and then a bonding jumper. And this silver and red area is the actual flexible fuel line coupling. So a lot of airplanes have this exact same coupling in numerous places around the aircraft, and then of course everything is secured with this safety lock wire. Something to note: it was required by the specific maintenance manual for the company that actually wound up doing the maintenance on this aircraft, which was actually Kalitta Air. It was not Dynamic Airways, so we'll get to that. And a conclusion here. So the unfortunate events involved in this accident occurred due to a multitude of factors, culminating in fuel-induced fire inside the left engine nacelle of this 767 aircraft. So something to note here, this aircraft had been retired for roughly 4 years. It was put into storage in 2011, resurrected in, I believe, the end of 2014, flew for 240 hours, and then it ended up having this accident. So I think some of the issues that surrounded this this coupling separating, or this lock wire not being found and corrected, is as this aircraft came out of storage, it would have gone under what we call a heavy check in the industries, where the airplane's taken apart. I have a picture to the right there. That's pretty much what a heavy check looks like. They inspect the entire wing, all the spars, all the wiring, all components of the engine, and especially safety wires such as the locking wire that we would have seen on this fuel coupling, this fuel line coupling. So Kalitta Air was responsible for the maintenance before and during the aircraft's resurrection, and then it was leased to Dynamic Airways. So really, the mechanics at Kalitta Air were probably held responsible for this accident, in that fuel line separating and causing the fire. And yeah, they probably received some administrative action against them there. Anyway, yeah. And finally, I've got the references here. A couple regular